All right, welcome to the Beancast episode 5.
Is it 5?
I don't know.
Beancast insert here.
So Matt just asked me, what are we doing with this podcast? What's the plan for this?
We're not really talking about beans that much more. Like, we're really trying to tie it back, but it's not really working.
Yeah. Is that a loss? Is it a failure that we're not talking about beans anymore? Or is that probably for the best?
I think it was an expected
outcome?
Outcome. We knew that we only had so many episodes that we could tie back.
The next thing that you mentioned after asking what the podcast is about, you said, is it just going to be a talking podcast? Which seems a little redundant to me.
You're overthinking it.
It's not a whistling podcast. It's not a singing podcast.
Are we just talking about what's on our mind?
It's not a theater play,
okay,
Shakespeare podcast.
You knew what I meant.
No, you said, I'm not going to lie, I didn't know what you meant when you said, is this just going to be a talking podcast?
Well, like, what are we talking about? This is just like, this is going to be what's on our mind this week? Because that's fine. Are we going to get guests?
We're going to talk about the groceries.
Are we going to talk about
that we're looking
events?
forward to buying? We're going to talk about menial things in our lives, the tedium. We're going to just be relatable in an everyday family member sort of way. Vaginas!
Jesus Christ.
Something like that.
Why?
I don't.
Just fucking ruin someone's speakers.
This is the Beancast. They clicked on the Beancast. When you're like, what should we turn this into? I don't think that we can. It's not like, are we trying to make a really great product, or are we just shitting into a microphone? I kind of assumed that it was going to be the latter, and that we would just kind of allow it to take whatever form it takes.
It is. But that's what I'm asking is, do you have a direction, or are we just going in any direction?
We're trusting the Force. Trust your feelings, Luke. Let go. Use the Force.
All right, sure.
Record whatever you like. It's the Beancast.
I don't give a fuck.
Feel the beans flow through you.
Well,
something baked beans. Something non-consensual abortion. It's the dark side. This is the Beancast Dark Side, Season 2. You seem to be real interested in that dog toy. Do you find out?
I just have ADD. I need to touch.
Need to touch children?
Things. Not children.
Oh.
Fidget toys. Anything to keep myself busy.
You're a fidget spinner man, are you?
No, I don't like spinners.
One day, casually, no, I don't like spinners. I tried them out. They weren't for me. I'm not really a spinner sort of a guy.
I really didn't understand that whole thing.
Instead, I like kind of like a firm, springy rubber.
It's much better.
What are the other categories of autism toys that you enjoy? Like a beach ball? Come on. I had to throw something out there. You just went away into ADD land.
Okay, Georgia. Back up.
You got my lovely dog named Georgia. Matt, it's fine. She can be in the show.
I know she can be in the show, but she's on.
You don't want her stepping on your nuts?
Yeah. Oh, Georgia, what are you doing?
She just loves you.
Here you go. I don't know. I don't really have many autism toys. I usually just constantly stay busy, so I don't need toys.
And that's why you've succeeded in your life. By constantly being busy.
Yeah.
This man's never taking a break. And that's why he's on top. That's why he's recording the Beancast.
I'm on top. What am I doing here?
Man, dogs rule. Georgia has to be the best goddamn thing
Yeah.
that's entered my life in years. Yep.
Yeah. They do provide a lot of entertainment, comfort, responsibility,
Barely.
value.
I procrastinate taking her out to walk and pee like way more than I should.
Well, that's
I'm
not
like,
good.
let me finish my breakfast, and she's like, fuck. I live in a condo though, so it's a pain in the ass taking her out.
Yeah. She'll be a lot happier when it's a house.
I am moving into a house June. Moving into girlfriend's parents' family house, but they're not in it anymore. So I'm really just like freeloading hard.
In your 30s.
Hard in my 30s. For rent, they're going to be charging us like the property tax
and
like utilities. All we're paying for is property tax and utilities and shit. It's going to come
somehow
up to like
this
a
is
grand
progress.
a month. Well, I've been paying for my own condo for 6 years.
Yeah.
So the next level is to freeload.
Are you all right there?
I'm just burping because I had a handful of chocolate chips before the podcast, so I have some
Chocolate-
sugar energy to keep me going.
Chocolate chips make you gassy?
Maybe, I don't know. And cold coffee, like, I've started gaining weight for the first time in my life. Like, you know this. Fuck.
Yeah,
I was a skinny boy for like 30 years of my life, and then all of a sudden,
Scrawny.
like 6 months, I gained like 60 pounds. Actually 60 pounds. I went from 140 to 200 in 6 months.
Yeah.
So now I don't keep any sweet foods and stuff at home. I like convinced my girlfriend that because I don't have the self-control to keep myself from stuffing my fat face, that she doesn't get to have tasty foods around the house, even though she gets to can enjoy them responsibly.
How generous of you.
Yeah, she can fucking stuff it. I told her she has to. I told her she has to hide stuff from me if she has it in the house. She, of course, I don't know.
She's too nice.
She's way
She's
too
too
nice.
nice, so she just said yes, of course.
Yeah, she's
But-
like, oh, of course. Well, no, that's not how it went. How it went is like, no, I just don't have self-control, so it's hard when there's food around. But I don't want to get in your way. I want you to still have nice food, but it's hard for me. So she'll still like do what I want, even though I'm like expressing how it affects her negatively.
What is that voice? Is that like Butters from South Park?
Ed,
Kind of sounds like Butters.
but I wouldn't want you to inconvenience you. Butter speaks way faster and he's more nervous.
Yeah, but when he's whining. Like, that sounds like a Butters whining.
Okay.
Oh.
I'll buy it. Butters is the shit. Butters became like the best character in that show when they had the NFT episode and Butters like selling everybody NFTs. And he's in an insane asylum and the place burns to the ground and everybody just has little NFTs on their phone and Butters is like, this is a great thing.
I've never seen that.
Gotten
That
off
sounds
before you.
hilarious.
Really?
Yeah.
You haven't seen it? Oh, I just it's the best part. It's like the special 2-parter COVID episode, and the best part is that like wherever Butters goes, chaos happens because he gets everybody into NFTs and everybody loses their money and burns their society to the ground. So they're keeping him in prison.
Wow.
He's like, "Hey guys, I've got a great opportunity." Oh yeah.
Do you know what's been happening to me lately?
No, hit me.
I've been really worried that I'm constipated, but like in my intestines, not my colon. I'm like legitimately worried. Last Sunday, I went to a cooking class and we learned to make pasta ourselves, and I totally fucked it up. They put out, to be fair, they said it was their fault. They put out like predetermined amounts of ingredients for us, and I just poured all the oil in.
All the oil makes it seem like you wouldn't get constipated, but go on.
There's a story. So we had the most oily fucking pasta. And then, of course, the girlfriend barely ate hers. And I was like, I'm going to have to eat it all. So I ate almost 2 full plates of oily pasta. I had unreasonable, terrible diarrhea for like 3 days straight.
Oh, no shit. You drank 2 cups of olive oil in one sitting.
It was...
Of
It
course,
was really bad.
It's like lubricating the fucking tubes. Like,
yeah.
that's okay. No problem with that. Go ahead.
The problem is now, is that I still have not had solid stools. It's
So,
been like
1 week.
it's been a week since, and it's like sliding through. I feel like everything that's getting through. So there is a condition.
This sounds like the opposite of constipation to me.
There is a condition where you can get stools stuck in your intestines, and you will still shit, but it's all like broken down. It'll pass right through, and I get these terrible cramps now.
Oh,
Like very painful.
Yeah.
For like a minute or two, and then it's
Yeah.
gone. And I'm just pooping out little fibrous pieces of crap. Like I ate ribs last night, a whole
yeah,
like family size stack of ribs.
a rack.
A full rack.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever those box things. I couldn't be bothered to cook last night, so I just threw it in the oven. And then I had like a walnut size turd. It was like liquid and like fibrous. It's not good. So I'm actually worried. I might have to go to the hospital and get an X-ray.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I told you I was a kid. I got constipated because I didn't want to shit in class.
Yeah.
I was so embarrassed about having to go to the bathroom. And also probably because like it took a long time for me to start wiping my butt. Like I remember going first days of school in like preschool or whatever. I'm trying to lie to make it better. Like grade 1. And being like, will the teacher come wipe my ass for me? Like my mom wiped my ass for way too long. It was not a healthy relationship. Anyways.
That's not good.
So I like was embarrassed about having to go to the bathroom in class because I was embarrassed about everything. I was manically insecure, and so I would just get constipated. I just wouldn't shit, and it got so bad that the cramps got so bad that they thought I had appendicitis, and everybody thought I had appendicitis until they gave me an X-ray, and they were like, this kid is like concrete packed with shit.
Jesus.
It was just like you look at the X-ray and there are like white bones on a cloudy blue background, and then just this like whitish bones, right? And then just this solid, pure white packed of shit, the shape of your intestines. Like it was ridiculous.
What was the cure? Did they just pump you full of prune juice and softeners?
No, they just gave me mineral oil, and then I just had a leaky asshole for a long time. Like, I didn't have any big shits or big relief or anything. I just had to go to the bathroom all the time to wipe my ass, because I'd, like, not do anything for an hour, and then there'd be, like, shit-colored mineral oil coming out of my ass.
Oh, my God.
Like, my sphincter couldn't keep the mineral oil at bay. It would just seep through. So that's why I'm wondering if your cure might not be mineral oil, if it's not like colon packed up.
I don't know.
You could try drinking
This
a
is
bunch
like
of
a really-
kombucha, and I don't know, that's got a bunch of air and shit in it that'll bubble around in your guts. That might help. You could just
Maybe.
eat handfuls of probiotics and kombucha and just turn yourself into a chemistry set. Start eating Coke and Mentos.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, this is a really inappropriate topic to tell the world about.
Why?
But
Everybody poops. Didn't you read that book when you were a kid?
I didn't actually.
I read it as an adult, actually.
Yeah, I think
never
most
saw it
people
as a
read
kid.
it as an adult.
And they're like, oh, I didn't need to be ashamed about all my shitting. When I was a kid, it was like a cathartic moment when I realized that it was like not embarrassing to have to use the bathroom. We were at this like
It's like a big moment
this
for
family.
you.
It was massive. We were at this family friends party, and I like had to use the bathroom, and I was like asking like, is it okay? And I was being all shy about it and stuff. And I was like, yeah, if you got to go poo, you have to go pee. Poo, you have to go pee. I gotta go pee. And then I made that into a song, and I spent the rest of the day at this like outdoor gathering, skipping around, going like, if you have to go poo, you have to go poo. If you have to go pee, you have to. And I'd like skip, and I went to the porta potty like 20 times, like constantly pooing and peeing, just like amazed at the freedom that it gave me, the release of anxiety and shame.
Tom, you must have been the weirdest kid growing up. Like, just the weirdest things just amaze you, I'm sure.
I mean,
could you imagine yourself, like, if you saw another kid that acted like you did growing up, like in the park, and he was just skipping along, being like
that was a moment in time. Like, the reason that existed was because of the like years of like holding my shit in, right? And like embarrassment. Like, I lived in a state of insecurity. That was what governed my behavior.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, how many of those different events happened over your childhood?
Oh, I couldn't tell you, man.
Exactly. So every week there was something new from Tom as a child.
But like all the insecurity kind of like, it eventually won the battle, right? Like the relief, those moments of relief were like not enough to push me through. Like when I found out that my friends like comfortably talked about watching pornography with each other, I was too far gone. I was too far gone to join them and feel okay with myself. I was too ashamed.
Wow.
That might have had something to do with the fact that one of my friends went on my laptop's web history at school and then said there was a bunch of stuff about like moms and mature women and stuff in it, and told people. And I was...
made you more insecure.
Devastated. I was so devastated, people didn't make fun of me.
Wow.
Like, I was so humiliated by it that like all my friends who were like first laughed were just like didn't say anything about it anymore because they knew that I was like hideously ashamed and it wasn't funny to make fun of me.
Even the bullies were ashamed of making fun of you for it.
There weren't really bullies. I was at a private school from grade 6 to 12. I went to a fucking private school that cost like 10 grand a year.
Yeah.
We're in from grade 6 to 12. There weren't
in Canada,
bullies.
That's a lot, but in the U.S., that would be like a regular semester.
Yeah, like I grew up in a small town called Bragg Creek.
You probably shouldn't give the location.
I'll give shit like that. Sure, I grew up in Bragg Creek, and like the schools that they had were shit. Like, at least the one I was at, it was called Banded Peak, and this school, they just hired hippies, and the hippies did nothing but teach us about native kids and native people of Canada, like Indigenous Canadians, and they didn't teach us things like math. So like, it would be like, time for math class. We're gonna go outside today, and like all these fucking 5th grade 11-year-old kids hauling their desks outside, dragging them outside for half an hour, and we just fucking sit there and swat bugs for 20 minutes or 10 minutes, and then we haul our desks back inside, and they were like, math curriculum complete. This hairy fucking bearded hippie asshole in sandals.
Yeah.
We didn't learn shit, so my parents moved me into a private school because it would have cost the same amount for me to go into a school in a different district.
Isn't it sad that in like our day and age we can't even get a proper education in certain places? You have to pay $10,000 a year just to have a proper education.
Yeah, it was a weird education though. It was like a proper education, but it was like really... They call themselves a university preparatory school.
Yeah,
there was no shop. There was no home ec. There was no, like, woodworking. There was fucking nothing that was a practical skill. It was all about getting the grades to get into university on math, English.
That's probably
physics.
A good thing, honestly, because I took shop, and you know what I did in there? I fucked around the whole time. I barely made anything.
But plenty of kids fuck around in math class. Like...
Yeah, but at least they're trying... Like, some people are trying in math class. I took mushrooms in math class.
Like,
I wasn't
picture
trying
someone
a lot,
whose life path is that they're going to go into the trades.
Yeah, they don't go to private school.
How much does grade 11 and 12 benefit them versus being in an apprenticeship for half of their time?
Oh yeah, it should be an apprenticeship. But it's not a choice. It's not a choice.
Yeah.
You should go. Actually, like in like Norway and Sweden and stuff, they usually
Germany.
have apprenticeship classes start at 11 or 12.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
fucking sick.
Yeah.
It's so sick. Now here I am fucking learning woodworking and nailing shit together like a 4-year-old, and I'm in my 30s.
Yeah.
It's like ridiculous how inept I am.
Well, they could, you know what they
And
could
I like
do?
hook
They
a
could
battery up to a circuit, and I feel like a genius when that's something that I should have done when I was in fucking 9th grade.
all the time that they waste teaching us about the natives and all the other crap.
Whoa!
They teach us so much.
Okay, hot take, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hear it.
Here's the context. You learn so much about it that it's irrelevant after a while. Like there is such a hot Georgia, stop. There is such a hot take on it. Like you could have one class of social studies on it and be good. It could cover the entire history just like it would on World War II or anything else. But they do it every year. It's like going to school, like in university. Like with my comp sci degree, I had to take all these business classes, and they were
Come sci. Come
comp
science.
sci. They were fucking useless. There was one guy who was Asian, like I think he was Chinese.
Oh my god.
He didn't speak any English, and he was teaching a business class. We did nothing the entire class because he couldn't explain the actual assignments.
Business. Respect apology.
That's what I mean.
Apology.
You could take out all of the native stuff, except for maybe one class or two, and then replace it with actual practical skills.
I don't remember learning a single thing about the native peoples of Canada, but I also don't remember learning a single thing
You were in private
about
school.
all the rest of history. Like everything that came from geography history was in one ear and out the other. I didn't absorb a
bit of it.
one iota of that information. So
I remember doing it.
I can't really comment on it.
I remember doing like a whole class on Japan in junior high
Yeah.
for some reason, and it'd
Yeah,
be like
yeah.
they shit in fucking holes on the floor and stuff, and it's like it wasn't true, but that's like what they used to do. You know, Georgia. Hello.
Was that what it said in the textbook? It's
Yeah.
like Japan.
Shit in
Subquote,
holes.
subtitle, they shit in fucking holes on the floor.
No, I just remember that, and I don't remember much about it. But
Remember
yeah,
the first time you shat in a whole floor toilet?
never have.
Really?
Yeah, in Thailand, I just got lucky. I never.
That's wild.
Yeah, but I only went I had to leave Thailand early. I went to Bangkok, and then I went to a small island, and that was really it. And I had to
First
leave.
toilet in Thailand I had to use. I get into the airport, take a taxi to a train, get on the train. I have to shit so bad. It's like starting to give me cramps. I go to the toilet of the train. It's a squatter hole, but it's like elevated. They're like 2 foot pads that are like 1.5 by 2 inches. That
Yeah.
You're supposed to teeter on like a ballerina above a hole, and beneath the hole is just the tracks rushing. And I get on top of it, I balance it, I take down my pants, and I'm barely able to keep myself upright.
Yeah.
And then the shit was just it just sucked back inside of my body, and it was like, no thank you. I don't have to poop.
Could you feel wind?
I've never had to poo. Yeah, it was really windy. Yeah. There's a fucking breeze coming up.
See, that's my worry with something like that.
Like a
is
cold
that
night breeze.
if it's actually really windy, that there'd be enough wind in there that it would suck the shit between your ass into the hole, and the wind would push it in a weird direction. You hit the side. You'd have to clean
Well,
it
it's not
up.
like your butt's touching the hole.
No, I know, but between the hole,
Yeah, yeah.
the space
yeah,
between
yeah,
it
yeah.
while it's falling, a draft comes and
There-
pushes
yeah,
it over.
There wasn't that significant a draft, I doubt.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's my worst fear.
that's your worst nightmare.
That's my worst fear there. And then you'd have to push it with your hand or something. I don't know what you do.
Yeah, I don't know what you do either.
Get the bottom of your shoe and just.
I mean, they're all wet baths over there, so you just spray water at wherever it is, right?
Oh, they had a hose.
They didn't have a hose, but that's what they do to clean the thing out. I don't know what I would have done in that situation. Probably nothing. I would have just been like, well, my shit's on the floor now.
Fuck it, I'm a
this was
tourist.
not a reasonable...
They're just gonna blame
this
it
is
on the
not a-
Chinese anyways.
Yeah, there's some. I don't know. I don't know much about Thai racism. I didn't really ingratiate myself in the cult. I didn't absorb myself into the culture while I was there because I was there with some douchebag friends. So we were just fucking around and being ourselves. I didn't actually get a feel for the culture.
I wasn't referring to Thai people thinking Chinese people suck. It's just Chinese tourists actually shit on the floor a lot of places. They've been like voted the worst tourists ever.
Really?
Because like there's
Worse
been
than-
lots of incidents where like at like France, Eiffel Tower, Chinese tourists like not come from the cities but come from the lands
Yeah.
in China. They legitimately will just pull down their pants and shit right there. And this is like a known thing. Like you can Google this. It's ridiculous. There's things in like the malls and like Singapore and stuff and like other places like do not shit. Because they will just stare you right in the eye.
Like a dog.
Like a dog.
Like they squat down like a dog, and then they just like
Yeah.
kind of shyly look up and just make eye contact
Yeah,
with
that's
whoever's
what
nearby.
they do. That's exactly what happens.
Oh, that's great, man. I'm for that. When I was in Vietnam, I was walking along, and it was just stupid busy. Rush hour, right? 6-lane highway just covered in fucking scooters, sidewalks packed with people. And I was just about to I was gonna go on one side of a power box because I was like, oh, I can kind of sneak past a couple people here. And there was a lady just shitting. And I was like, oh, never mind. But that's the thing about shitting. Like, a shit can be acceptable to take a shit wherever you are because it's like a medical thing.
No,
it's like a physiological thing. Somebody can have to shit, and there can be like no bodily control over it. Like there are such things as like emergency shits where you're in like you described the cramps you were having.
Yeah, maybe.
Like what if those cramps like magnified by 5 times and you had to take a shit or it felt like you were gonna die?
If it's an emergency, okay. But if you're doing it just because you don't want to go to the toilet, that's not okay.
I almost took an emergency shit on a Staples once.
There's one time
I like had to, it was after we moved you. It was after we moved you because I had done I had to shit in the morning, but then I left anyway before work. We moved a bunch of furniture, and then I was driving to work, and the sun was blinding, so I drove into a curb and got a flat tire.
Did you actually?
So then I had to unpack my car, which was full of shit, and then change a tire. And by the time I had finished changing the tire, I was like. It was like I would do a bit on the tire, and then I would double over in cramps, and literally my eyes were tearing, like I was crying. And then the wave would pass, and I would finish do work on the tire a bit more, and then I'd have another cramp episode. And like after I was done the tire, I went to Staples, and I was like, I have to use your bathroom. And they actually let me. If they wouldn't have, I would have shit on the wall.
When was
this? Was downtown. This was when you were moving.
This is when we lived together?
No.
With Gabby?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
A while ago.
Yeah.
Did you tell me all this when we were moving?
Probably. I couldn't say. Maybe I was ashamed and embarrassed about it at the time. Who's to say? But honestly, like in my mind, I suddenly understood. Like in that moment, I was like, I can shit anywhere.
Yeah.
And it would be okay morally. Because of the immense pain that I'm in.
That's fair. If it's an emergency, that's a whole different situation. But if you're just lazy, or that's like...
What if it's cultural? What if they don't have access to public toilets in the place they're from, so they don't know to look or ask for it?
Well, that's part of the thing with the Chinese. People from like the mainland in China is that apparently they just do that. That's just cultural. Like, they just take shits like that. And, like, I can't imagine what their village looks like if they're just been shitting around on walls.
Well, no, they're just places to well, that's the thing. Like, let's say you're in a place that's pretty rural, right? And it's like, oh, you just go off into the bushes and take a shit and then come back out.
But
But then you're in a pretty place like France, and in our perspective, there's zero place there that's acceptable to shit. So they'd be walking. It's like a dog who shits inside because he like can't hold it enough to go outside. The dog finds the best place it can and takes a shit, exactly like you or me would.
I don't think that's the case, because you would think that they would pick somewhere else, like a dark alley or something else that like it's a little bit hidden, like you would in the bushes, right? But they're doing it in the mall. with people walking by.
Honestly, that makes me like admire them. Coming
No.
from someone who's like has spent the majority of their life ashamed that I even have to take a shit ever. The freedom that they experience.
You admire them
When
for
it's
shitting
time
in
to
the
go
malls.
poo, you gotta go poo.
Do you
They're
think you could
singing
do
that
that?
song in their head while they're making eye contact with you.
Do you think
They're
that you
human
could do
beings.
that? Do you think you could just take a shit in the middle of a hallway in a mall and just look at people watching you?
Only if it was an emergency, and
But do you think you could do it just normally?
just normally. Well, why would I?
Again, like you just saying you admire them.
Yeah, but if I didn't know that there were public toilets all around, and I was like, oh, I gotta take a fucking shit,
I mean,
I would fucking go into Levi's.
it's not like they don't know.
And I would go into the changing room,
You,
and
like,
I would shit in a new pair of Levi's, and then wipe my ass with it, and then I would leave.
how ignorant do you have to be, though, to not be able to see washroom signs everywhere? If you're a Chinese tourist and you don't see the sign of washroom, the same one they have in China, it's a symbol.
Listen, I'm gonna.
I'm just saying.
I'm
There's
like,
no excuse. There's
I'm
no
not
excuse.
gonna back down from playing the devil's advocate
Okay.
against your racist
It's not racist.
beliefs that you hold about the Chinese.
It's not racist.
You heard it
It's
here.
very true.
You heard it here, folks. Take this man's job away because he believes that Chinese people may or may not shit outside of
There's
bathrooms.
fucking YouTube videos of this.
I know, they're great. But I always default to like maybe it was an emergency and they didn't know that there was a better option. I believe that like 99% of the time, if they knew that there's a bathroom around the corner that I could use, they would be in that bathroom around the corner. I do believe that.
I can't believe that. How can you be in a mall? How can you be in a tourist spot like an Eiffel Tower and not think there's washrooms? Like, there's a very, very rational explanation to get
What
to.
if it's like an adventurous thing? Like how you wanted to bring home like how you wanted to take a stone home from the Berlin Wall. Maybe they want to take a shit by the Berlin Wall.
Maybe they just fucking hate the French. And they're like,
Yeah.
fuck this Eiffel Tower.
Maybe they're like looking for the most beautiful spots
Maybe
in general. They're just like, oh, this is beautiful.
this
What
is
a
the best place
serene
to take
place.
a shit.
And they just see it and they're so relaxed that their body just immediately begins to release shit. And
Ooh.
there they go.
Wow.
Ah, look at that beautiful sunset. Dribble, dribble, dribble. Or in Matt's case, walnuts or whatever the fuck is
Yeah.
coming out of your butt right now.
Not much. Not very good. Well,
Not much and not very good. Yeah,
that was a
you could
lot
go to
of-
the hospital, but
if I get the pain, if the pains continue, then I'm gonna go
Yeah.
to the hospital.
you could just try mineral oil for kicks, though,
I would.
because that's like kind of like a easy home thing for constipation. Like if there's an the thing is, oil appeared to cause it. So maybe the extra oil like cleaned out some bacteria or something, or fucked with your gut bacteria or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried that my body tried to overcompensate for
Yeah.
it and went the other way.
It might just go away over time. I would just take probiotics and drink a bunch of kombucha because, what's it called?
It's the best thing to do. Just ignore it. It'll go away.
I'm not saying ignore it. I'm saying do those things and give it a couple days. And if the cramps continue, like, it's fine, man. Like when I
Yeah.
came back from India and I had hand, foot, and mouth disease and Campylobacter at the same time. I went to the hospital. I didn't just ignore it. I'm responsible.
Wow.
In
You
fact,
didn't take mineral oil?
I was going to just fly back, and my brother was like, if you get on the plane, you might have fucking monkeypox for all anybody knows. You are like, you could kill somebody, and you'd be at fault. And I'm like, oh, you fucker. So then I went to a doctor in India. We went to a hospital, and he was like, this is an allergic reaction. And he's looking at like spots on my hands, and my tongue hurts and is all numb, and my feet have spots on them, and I'm covered in itchy rashes. He's like, this is just an allergic reaction. And I'm like, okay, get on the plane, get back home. Hand, foot, and mouth disease, and then Campylobacter. Campylobacter, by the way, stinkiest shits I ever experienced. Like diarrhea, but like with a gelatin consistency.
Ooh.
And just unbelievable odor. Like it traumatized me getting shit samples for the doctors. It traumatized me. Had to do it twice, and I like wanted to die.
That's disgusting.
Like I would do,
Was it
I
like
would
a
fucking
sundae?
stir around a bowl of shit and just breathe it in, ordinary shit, like happily after having to get close to Campylobacter shit.
Do you think like human shit smells like the worst? It's
This was so much worse. This smelled like so viscerally like unwell. It smelled like human shit, but the person is dying.
like sulfuric or
Not sulfuric. There
like
was other
rotten?
stuff to it. There was like
fermented.
the melange of smell that I experienced.
Wow.
The spice melange.
That's the kind of one that you want to put in a box and ship it to your worst enemy.
Oh, fuck. I wouldn't know. I don't wish that shit on people. I thought I was dying on Campylobacter, because after a while, the diarrhea went away and I was just shitting blood. I just sit on the toilet and I'd get bad cramps and I'd shit blood every, like, hour.
That's not good.
Yeah.
My worst, like I fear about colon cancer.
Yeah?
Every time I see like a little drop of blood or something, I'm like, fucking colon cancer.
Really?
So worried. That sounds terrible.
I
Could
just
you
live
imagine?
in ignorance is bliss land, so I don't think about things like that.
Could you imagine though, colon cancer? Like they would have to cut out part of your colon, and then
Yeah.
you just been like,
Yeah, you collect your
you'd
shit in
be
the bag
leaking.
and shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible. It's
Yeah,
absolutely
my grandpa
terrible.
was doing that for years.
Yeah,
Like, what a fucking trooper. Like, never talked about it, never complained.
yeah,
When he died, his body was riddled with cancer.
yeah.
And he never complained. He just took fucking handfuls of ibuprofen and Tylenol and just kept on going.
Dude, I would be drinking so hard on a daily basis.
But he had a bunch of kids and, like, meaning in his life.
Yeah, so
Like, if
that's
I was
what
in- if
mean.
I
Like,
was
you
in that
could live,
position, I
but you
wouldn't
just be
be.
drunk as fuck, and then
Drunk
be
as
like,
fuck.
"Grandpa's got cancer." You can't blame him.
Nah, he was a good dude. Because if you were drunk as fuck, then you might not be able to muster up the strength to go outside and see the chickens one last time. You know? You never know.
Maybe.
He also believed in some god stuff, so that helps.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Georgia, you're gonna be panting right into the microphone.
Yeah, it's endearing. Right?
Okay, so human shit is the absolute worst.
Probably, yeah.
Why? Why is it? Because of the food we eat, or is it because we're the ones smelling it?
I think it's
And it's
because
like
we
we have an
evolved to not like
evolutionary-
our own waste.
Yeah,
Like, dogs don't eat dog poo, but they'll eat rabbit poo or horse poo. Humans don't like human poo, but will eat civet coffee.
Gross.
I think there are some cases where animals did evolve to eat their own shit, but I think it's because it's our waste product. Like, everything in our shit is now waste to us.
Yeah.
So we like, and there are so many different bacteria and stuff that rely on the shit and eat cycle that we just evolved
so
to.
you think it's purely evolutionary?
Well, I think everything is, and that's my guess for the reason that it's like that. Because if it's not evolution, well,
How
it is
much-
evolution. It has to be evolution.
How much would it cost? Like, how much would I have to offer you to take a bite of your own shit? $10,000?
No, 10,000 isn't enough. Like,
50?
probably
50,000? Just take a bite of shit.
one bite.
One
Do I have to
bite.
swallow it?
You have to chew it.
50,000 for yeah, I would do that.
You do that?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think I think I would
It's
say
not a
that, but then I
life-changing-
get there and I'd be like, nah, I can't do that.
Like, $50,000 isn't a life-changing amount of money for me in the position that I'm in, but
But it's significant.
it's nor is I don't think that taking a bite of my own shit and chewing it for 3 seconds and spitting it out and then fucking gargling Listerine for the next 24 hours, I don't think that's a life-changing trauma.
Yeah.
So That's why I'm like 50 to 100 or something like that.
I'd be, you know what? I do the same. I do the same.
Plus, it's my own shit. It would be worse if it was
Makes
someone
better.
else's. Oh yeah, someone else's. Then you're also introducing all the bacteria in their guts and their waste.
Isn't that a good thing though? Not unless
Depends.
you swallow it. If you
I
swallow
I
it,
would
then
pay
yes.
$50,000 to eat Tom Brady's
Some
shit.
people do that. Some people love
Yeah.
that shit. They like take it in pill form and they swallow it.
Yeah, it's medical treatment. It
Which
works.
I don't get, because how does the stomach not like digest that? You know, like the bacteria would die, I would assume.
I don't know.
So I don't understand how it gets to the intestine unless like the pill capsule is strong enough to,
Yeah, maybe.
to like hold it.
I'm not sure. I just know that I've read articles about how it actually works.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are people who I'd pay to eat their shit. So
It's fucked up. It's fucked up.
it would be great to have good guts.
There's a company now I've heard of in the UK that is
Yeah.
like, you know how you can do like Ancestry.com or whatever? It's kind of like that. You send them a sample, a stool sample, and they will help analyze the bacteria in your guts.
Yeah.
And it'll help you with dieting and like all the other stuff. They will help you, and they'll keep sending you like different.
There are companies
shit
like that in the
samples and stuff.
States, and they do their shit samples, DNA samples, blood samples. It just all costs so much money.
Mm-hmm.
And in
crazy,
Canada,
though.
it's like you have to get doctor recommendations for most medical services, right? Like if you want to get that in Canada, I don't know if there's a place
You
that
need
offers
approval,
it. Yeah, because
we
it's got to
live in
go
a
through.
fucking socialist system.
Yeah. But there are I think there are companies in America that do it for Canadian people. It's just really expensive.
Yeah.
Oh, I love you too, Georgia. I'd love to do that shit. Especially, I really would have loved to do that shit, but now I just kind of don't care so much,
do you
and I
think
put
with
so much less effort into my personal well-being.
Do you think it would actually make a big difference? Like if you could inject Tom Brady's shit into your colons, do you think it would actually make a difference?
Potentially,
And
like I don't think it would be a life-changing difference.
I don't think so. I don't think
Like,
it would make a big difference.
I know. I feel like the people who are like rave about this stuff, they're already running at fucking 90%, and they're like, wow, I can get to 91% or 91.5%.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I'm over here at like 35. And it's like the changes in my life that would like, there are things I could do that would make massive difference. Like
yeah.
exercise.
You could just stop eating
If
5
I were to
bowls of cereal.
exercise, I don't eat bowls of cereal anymore because you're not able to control it. So I have excellent self-control in the grocery store. I never buy junk food or soda or anything.
Yeah, but you don't like junk food or soda.
What do you mean? I buy boxes of Frosted Flakes and liters of whole milk.
Okay, but you're not calling that junk food.
That's junk food. I don't do that.
You don't do that?
No, I did in that 6 months when I was getting fat, but I'm not now.
Do you think cereal is the sole reason why you got fat?
Mostly. And not Frosted Flakes Raisin Bran. I would just get family boxes of Raisin Bran and whole milk, and I would eat like 4 bowls after every meal. Like breakfast, like 3 bowls of Raisin Bran. Lunch, I'd eat lunch, and then I'd eat 3 bowls of Raisin Bran.
So fucked up. No
Dinner,
wonder
I'd
you
eat
gained
dinner,
weight.
and then I'd have 3 bowls of...
Why were you eating so much cereal?
Because it was delicious. It was
not that
delicious,
good.
and it tasted so good. Yeah, there's fat from the whole milk. There's sugar from the raisins. There's fiber from whatever the fiber does. I don't know. And I was just shitting like mad. I was shitting like...
No shit.
Yeah. Like, why don't you try that to fix your guts?
No.
Get on the Raisin Bran
Oh
diet.
my god. Yeah, no wonder you
Do
gained
it.
60 pounds. That is way too much. It's like if I ate a bag or 2 of candy after every meal.
Yes.
You'd be like, that's not healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you did. But with
yeah,
Raisin
but
Bran.
fuck candy.
Well, okay, it's the same thing except
Raisin
for that
Bran
you're
was
eating it
so
with extra
satisfying.
Fats
So
and
good.
fiber.
It was delicious. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, that's
Plus,
why you
like-
added so much weight.
And it wasn't too sweet because I wasn't like Frosted Flakes or Honey Nut Cheerios. It was just a nice.
What if you had 1%? Do you think you would have gained only 40 pounds? Because I genuinely maybe 20 pounds, not 60.
I was consuming such a large quantity of Raisin Bran, man. I don't know, maybe like 10 pounds difference. Like I think Listen,
You-
it was a rough period.
You fucked up your metabolism by just consuming tons of fiber and whole milk.
Yeah, and now I'm a fat boy by doing nothing but eating tons of Raisin Bran.
Ah, I remember watching your girlfriend just like roll her eyes at you, being like, "You can't eat another bowl of cereal right now."
I was like, shameful. I was like, I will though. Please stop judging me.
That's crazy. That's fucking nuts.
I was living life, man.
Yeah, you were living it.
I was living life. I was doing what I wanted to do.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I was very depressed.
Now you're like the rest of us, though. You're gonna have to start
Yeah.
actually working
Watching
out and
what I
doing
eat.
stuff to like maintain weight.
I've been eating healthier. I don't do the cereal binging thing.
God,
So I'm pretty sure I'm maintaining at 200 right now.
that's good.
Yeah. Shouldn't make fun of me, Matt.
Well, I'm not making fun of you. It's
Everybody's
just hilarious.
Georgia, you're on the microphone. You're literally touching the microphone. Georgia, what the fuck? Get out of here. I know, I love you. We both love you, but oh my gosh.
You don't need attention constantly, George.
You are the mascot of the Beancast, you beautiful girl.
You're gonna go right onto the website.
Yeah. And here we go.
Oh, Jesus Christ! All right, goodbye, Georgia. All right, what else we got to talk about?
Well, we hit shit and we hit Raisin Bran, which is like pre-shit.
Where are we at with time?
We hit 47 minutes right now.
Oh, wow! This has been a very interesting podcast.
I think it's been useful. I think it's been educational. We talked about healthcare. We
learned-
talked about diet. We talked about eating shit.
We talked about the importance of not eating 6 to 9 bowls of cereal a day.
Listen, if any of you are eating 6 to 9 bowls of cereal a day,
You're gonna gain weight.
I don't judge you at all. I love you, and literally, I would give you a hug if I met you. I have nothing but love for you, and I understand. I understand the feeling that it gives you.
I would judge you.
Yeah,
The same way I judge Tom.
that's fine.
Yeah, it's been a good.
Yeah,
It's
Matt
been
and
a
I have
good,
different
weird-
approaches to like empathy.
Yeah, Tom has it. I don't.
Yeah, different approaches to human wellness. Matt's like, you're fucking up. And Tom's like, it's okay that you're fucking up. Let's try to understand it. And Matt's like, get your shit together. And Tom's like, but it's so tasty.
Yeah,
And I'm so sad.
yeah. It's weird that we have become such good friends when we are very different in some ways.
We're phenomenally different. It's true.
Yeah. Well, no, we have a lot of similar interests. We have a lot of like similar values.
We're both white men,
Definitely.
which means we're the same.
Wow. Great.
We are a known quantity.
Yeah. But yeah, we definitely are different about fundamental
Yeah.
emotional differences and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's
if
all right,
anything that I learned from this episode of the podcast, what keeps us engaged with each other is that I like telling you about my shit and you like hearing about my shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so do all of you listeners.
That'll be the general theme of this podcast.
The Beancast is now turning into the Shitcast.
Oh my god.
The Scatcast.
Oh god.
That's a good name, Scatcast. Bop-a-dee-ba-dee-ba-da-da.
That's not a good name.
Yeah, even less people would click on that than Beancast. They would think it's a fetish podcast.
Yeah.
With like people who dumpster dive in
Ooh.
porta potties and stuff. Have you seen those videos?
What?
Yeah.
People do that?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. There's
so,
stories where like somebody goes into like a porta potty at a festival and gets shit on a bunch, and it was their intention, and like a lady will be like, call the cops on them. And there'll be a guy in the bottom of a porta
What?
potty.
Why?
Yeah,
It's like covered
and they'll
in,
do
like,
it with or without hazmat suits. Sometimes without suits. Sometimes they'll be playing in a sewer in like a big suit, and sometimes they'll like someone will go in raw. Like that person has got to have a limited lifespan if they're exposing themselves to that sort of bacteria.
Yeah, that is fucked. But their gut bacteria culture is probably fucking phenomenal. They've probably been eating shit left, right, and center. In their bacteria.
They probably have Ebola, Matt. I wouldn't be congratulating these people based on the health benefits of swimming in shit. I wouldn't assume that person's
I'm not
super
congratulating.
healthy.
I'm not congratulating. I'm just saying
I would call that...
their colon culture is probably great.
I don't believe that.
That's a podcast name right there. If you were going to make a shit podcast,
Colon culture. Welcome to colon culture. That probably exists. I've seen YouTube shorts with a lady talking about like, so the healthy amount of time for food to pass is 24 hours. It's like this fucking granola girl who's super hot. And she's like, now time to talk about markers. Markers are food that can help you determine how long your digestive cycle is taken. These are things like corn. And this was serious. This was not a joke.
Speaking of podcasts, do you think we should ask Tanner to be a guest speaker on our podcast?
No, I don't want to sully his career.
I want to get him
I think
on.
if he's ever on the episode, we should give him a different name because he's developing a public persona that is productive and healthy.
He can teach us.
Oh my God.
That could be the whole episode is he could teach us about mind, body, whatever the fuck.
You know what? You're actually right. That's a great idea. I'm 100% down. We'll need another microphone. Someone from Facebook Marketplace is dropping one off at 4 p.m. today. We're getting gear, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting guests. We're coming in hot.
I'll message him.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
Fucking yeah, let's do it. We'll get a threesome going.
Okay.
I'm in your butt.
Whoa.
I'm in your butt.
We might need to invite Anne. I didn't think about that.
Why?
I don't know. Because they're doing it together.
Just play her the first episode of this. Just play her any of the episodes of this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she'll be like, no. And then also Tanner would be like, no. So don't let Tanner hear.
I won't. I'm not going to tell him anything about this podcast. I'm going to just say it's like a talk show podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a talk show podcast. Don't say her full name. Whatever you do, don't say her full name. No, that's fire. I like it.
Yeah.
And he can share his ideas about mind-body healing, and I can appreciate it, and you can just fucking grill him on it.
I am just...
Yeah.
I am going to be so insensitive. You probably won't appreciate that at all.
I guess... Well, you know...
Yeah,
nah, he'll be fine.
He'll be fine, but he won't appreciate it. Tanner's a secretive guy. You know, he'll be laughing the moment. And then 5 minutes later, when you turn around in the corner, he's going to hate you and have a grudge.
Oh.
So that's okay. I'm willing to do that for this podcast.
And that's okay. I'm willing to do things to a friend that makes them hate me.
That's him. If he wants to be upset about that, about my opinions, that's fine. Oh.
Okay. All right, George's licking my face. It's time to call this one.
All right. Thanks for listening to the podcast.
I love you all.
We might get a guest speaker next time. We have no idea. And we're out. I said we're out, Tom. We're out.